All right, 8 by 12, 8 by 12, 8 by 10. 8 by 10 canvas, white gesso, and paint. So there's this thing, group of people thing, I don't know what you call it, called the Free State Project. And it's kind of a cool, interesting idea. I wish it wasn't in New Hampshire, because I don't want to go to the East Coast, but it may end up making me do that. But it's an interesting idea in this concept of political warfare. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but in the idea that, oh, question mark. The state of New Hampshire is this interesting state in the way that it's been set up, because they're the free state, you know, like the live free or die state. And it's very, there's a lot of representation, so it's easier for a person to run for political office in the state and win in a smaller district, right? Like, let's say you're in Washington State and you are running for state office in Washington, and your district has 100,000 people. Okay? That same, you know, kind of setup, I shouldn't say same, but in New Hampshire, your district might only have like 7,000 or 8,000 people. And their Congress is bigger, as I understand. Right? And so there's this group of libertarian type people that are libertarians in the Free State Project that are moving to New Hampshire and slowly trying to take over the government. And I think it's a fun idea. And I think that the way they're doing it could work, because just the way it is. There was, during the last cycle in a primary in New Hampshire, there was a trans anarchist Satanist that ran as a Republican because they had an R next to their name, and they won their primary by like 500 votes or something like that. It wasn't a lot, but they won. And it was kind of explaining that idea of how people just vote. It's like that movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy, where he's a con man and he figures out a con to get into Congress, and then he realizes that Congress is the real con. And then he gets a conscience and helps the kids that have the power lines and whatnot. But the Free Staters are trying to work their way into the government of New Hampshire, and then slowly change New Hampshire to be this libertarian stronghold. And I have this thing where I wish that the Free State Project was happening in Montana or Wyoming, because I really don't want to live on the East Coast, right? But as I think about it, they have a numbers game going, and I don't know the exact numbers of people that have said they were going to pledge allegiance. I mean, it could be like 15,000, 20,000 people. Could be like, I know it's more than a few thousand that have moved to New Hampshire over this time frame. And my friend Greasy Meatloaf, he keeps talking about it. If you're watching this, Greasy Meatloaf, I'm looking at you, buddy. You just had that birthday, that mile marker. And I know that if I had a friend living in New Hampshire, it'd be a lot easier to convince me to move there. But that's beside the point. I keep thinking about the state of Wyoming because it's one of those super, like, fiscally conservative states. I mean, they're just conservative. But the thing with New Hampshire, there's only like 600,000 people in the entire state. And if you could get like 30,000 libertarians to move to Wyoming, take over that state, but more importantly, this is like a side project for all you free staters, and maybe there's free staters that don't want to go to New Hampshire, and they like the idea of Wyoming as well, because you can get 50 acres of property pretty cheap in Wyoming. Anyways, back to the plan here. So while the free staters in New Hampshire are trying to take over the free state, because New Hampshire can like secede, and if they get enough people, they just secede, become the free state. I think that's kind of the big picture, is to pull that off. But I keep thinking about how our Congress works, and the Senate is rather interesting, and it was fun with Mr. Joe Manchin being this roadblock towards things, and Miss Christian Cinema as well being a roadblock to some of these things. And it was more the idea of, look at how one person can literally shut down Congress. Now let's imagine that one person had just got into the Congress in Wyoming and replaced the neocon known as Liz Cheney. Let's just say, for fun, argument's sake, that happened. And you're the one libertarian who's got that, like, I'm not playing. Like, you're not trying to convince them to move a little bit, right? You're not doing the Joe Manchin thing. You're just sitting there saying, I'm not voting for it. You guys are going to have to get somebody from the other side to join your side. But more importantly, if you could get one of those senators doing this free state idea, you could get both of them. And imagine two senators that are legitimate libertarian, Dr. Ron Paul, Dr. No libertarians. And every single time Congress is trying to do something, there's those two jackasses from Wyoming sitting there going, no, no, immediately no. I saw what you were doing, and no, right? And at the very least, that gets at least Moscow Mitch and whoever the other jackweasel, remember that guy's name, Chuck Schumer. Chucky Schumer, to have to work together to get over you two. Because you two aren't like Christian Cinema and Joe Manchin or Mittens Romney. You can't be bought because you're libertarians and you're representing the free state of Wyoming. And yeah, you guys are going to have to get over the marketing of selling Wyoming in freezing ass fucking winter. Wyoming is beautiful. But you find those states that have small populations, you go there and take over their Senate seats. Play the long game. Imagine the Senate with 5 Ron Pauls. Nothing would get done, ever. The government would have to, like the left and the right would have to literally work together to overthrow the Dr. No's saying, nope, we don't want to play your stupid game. We want common sense, like politician control. Right? Heck, you know, those libertarians don't have to be the, you know, libertarians are an interesting mix of people. So, you know, it's more that they're just trying to stop the government from being the government. Every time something, you know, they're the ones pushing Rand Paul's 1 penny a year. Reduce the budget by 1%. And doing that, it saves like hundreds of billions of dollars or something like that in the first year. Because the budget's in the trillions. But it's 1 penny on the dollar. I mean, we could all give up 1 penny on the dollar. The stupid federal government could easily give up 1 penny on the dollar. So, you know, here I am rambling about politics. But see, the fun part is this, is I get to talk to you about a political philosophy instead of Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. I did talk about Chucky Schumer and Moscow Mitch McConnell because they're super rad. They're the same person. So what do you think? What do you think about that? If you've made it this far and you're listening to me ramble, you should hit the subscribe button. At the very least, hit the like button. I mean, most of you, the average watch time is like a minute. If you've made it this far, you're on the fucking kick-ass, you're rad list. You know, to the 12 people liking my post, can I get you something from the gas station? So, what do you think about that? Do you think that that's a viable option? I mean, find these little small flyover states that nobody gives a fuck about. And here's the thing, is most of you libertarians trying to do the Free State Project are a lot of Mises Caucus guys, which are all Ron Paul libertarians, which means you're all kind of on the conservative side. You're to the right of center, at least. Most of you, at least fiscally. And guess what? You find all of those little red states that have 2 senators that are fiscally conservative, that you're not really trying to sell people on some insane idea of libertarian free market capitalism, whatever, volunteerism. You know, we, the people, choosing to live our lives in or around or not with whatever. And I think if you pull it off in New Hampshire, you could pull it off in a lot of other places, because New Hampshire is one of those weird purple states. Like Washington State, if you take literally the city of Seattle out of the state, Washington becomes, at the very least, a 50-50 state. And so I'm telling all of you liberals in Seattle that are never going to watch my video, hey, maybe you would. Move to Idaho. Because I don't like Idaho. I love Idaho. I take that back. It's a beautiful state. It's one of the most beautiful states and one of the most backward states in the country. Sorry, Idaho, but you know the truth. The truth hurts, and fuck off. So, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say such harsh words about Idaho. It's actually a beautiful state. It's just there's this group of people that live up in the northern part, kind of have gotten themselves a reputation that kind of has always been a joke to me and my friends as long as I have lived in Eastern Washington. I remember going to church camp, Lake Coeur d'Alene. You always had to look out for those white supremacists. There's the real ones. The ones, not the fake ones that they talk about on the TV. The real ones. You know, not the fake ones like people want you to believe Donald Trump is, but the real ones. Like Dick Butler and the Aryan Brotherhood. Sorry, the Aryan Nation. I believe the Aryan Brotherhood's a prison gang. Anyways, that devolved. So anyways, I don't know. If you're one of those people that thinks that the Free State Project is doing a good thing, it doesn't have to be New Hampshire. I also think there's some people that I've seen where they talk about, you get you and some friends, and Tim Pool, I think, talked about this, and you go buy up one of those little towns, you know, the towns that are like out in the middle of nowhere, like Tokyo, Washington. It's between Ritzville and Spokane. It's literally a grain silo, and I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 houses that nobody lives in. You just go buy up all the property and start your own little town. Go start your own little town. Why not? Okay, we're almost done here. We're almost done here. All right. Okay, so that's my theory, my political philosophy on a way to take the country back. The problem is most of those free staters are closet anarchists that just want to dismantle the government, which I also am 100% on board with. So we'll call this the free state. There, the free state. How's that? If you made it this far, hit the comment. You should always comment, but hit the like and the subscribe. And I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. And I'd really appreciate it to see if you could go out there and be the change that you want to see in the world. And have a fantastic day.